It's a beautiful early fall day in the Serengeti. The two animals head to their vehicle to offload some beans onto a semi-truck. Graham, you're going to be out of battery if you keep holding that trigger down. There you go. That soybean stubble's hard to walk on for a little guy, isn't it? First thing we got to do, check the oil. Not a very good angle there. Is there oil on that? We need to grease the grain cart. I think we're going to load the trucks first just to get them to the elevator and empty so we can get started early. Let's get in the tractor. This is a skill. One-handed. Right into your seat. What if I grease the grain cart while you clean the windows? Sound like a deal? I like that. The outside, not the inside. You're like your grandpa, you got me on a technicality. Where's your house at?
Mommy's house.
Mommy's house is over there? It's not my house because I spend most days pretty close to sleeping outside. He knows. You want to sleep outside? Okay, well, you're smart. Be nice to your wife one day, you won't have to worry about that. Dad and I did ourselves a favor last night by getting the drapers all back in running shape, new guards and sickles where they've been broken on rocks or objects. Today we just have to load the trucks and wait on the beans to dry. This Haulmaster can load trucks so fast. It's purely speculation because I don't have a stopwatch. I swear I just loaded a truck in less than 60 seconds. It just spits out the grain. One probably needs to be paying fairly close attention, not being on TikTok while you're loading the truck if you've got the gate wide open, because it could get out of hand very quickly. Quit slacking off. I told you to wash the windows. A little dust in there. Pretty neat, huh? What do you got? That was sarcasm, by the way. Didn't expect him to clean the windows. Do you want to go home? Do you want to stay with me? Should we try to cut some beans?
Cut beans.
Cut beans? A little tough still. They'll cut real good when they start to snap. Close, but that's going to pull pretty hard on the combine. We might go try it just for fun. Pods are cracking right open. I'm not sure the beans will cut very well this early. They didn't yesterday, even though they were testing dry in the hopper. We do have a little bit of a breeze. The sun is shining, and this is the only opportunity we ever really get to run the big combine. So I'm gonna try it just so Graham can ride. Oil's good in the big machine. They gonna cut? I wouldn't sit on those, that might hurt. Do you hear that airplane? Where is it? It's right above us. You scared? It's never a good start to the day when you're climbing up a ladder and you just hear your pants rip right around the family jewel area. Might be a bad day. Are you ready for this, Graham? Ready to rock and roll? Can't rock and roll till the parking brake's off.
Ready. Alright, sit down.
This machine's eating already, Graham. Look how dry these are already. 10.5%. Something's wrong with the yield monitor. That can't be right. Dad did say there was a spot out here where there used to be a gigantic pile of cattle manure. Maybe that's what we just cut through. That organic matter adds up quickly. What, bub? These are definitely yielding a little bit better than the same variety a half-mile down the road. A lot of change in topography and soil that way. And the cattle. Can't forget about the cattle manure. Holy smokes, there's some good beans out across here. That is insane. It was fun while it lasted, Graham. Graham's been working for almost 2 hours this morning. I think once the boss cuts around by my house, I'm going to drive him up there, drop him off because I don't want to have to pay him overtime. He's getting kind of quiet, so I wonder if the tractor's making him sleepy. When I was a kid, I'd ride in the combine and the groan of the rotor would put me right to sleep. Remember, Dad or Grandpa would always put me on the floor right there, and I'd wake up a couple hours later, none the wiser, had a great time. I often wonder who these memories benefit the most, the child or the parent. I enjoy having them, unless they're gassy. For whatever reason, these beans are extremely heavy. 850 bushels on a load. That is really good for us. The grain cart's like a more fun school bus, just taking you home after a day of work. Dad's opening up the main area behind our home farm right now. Typically one of our most productive fields, planted in late March. I don't know that they got the rain they needed. They do have the organic matter and the fertility to yield big. We'll see what comes out of this field as we chew through it. Did you get any of my cats when you went around the house?
Any, but 2 chickens.
Katie's combine looks so small compared to the X9. I left a check strip right there with some March 13th planted beans to compare to these March 26th or 27th bean. Same variety. That should tell us if the planting date mattered at all. Possibly why the last farm didn't yield as well. Could be soil type. Could be a lot of factors. These are definitely a lot better. Oh, too much. The Haul Master does come with a shovel for dumbos like me. Hopefully no one saw that. At least they're not worth very much. That makes it better. These beans look great. Nice seed size, way bigger than the last field. There's a few green ones in there. They pay better. I just noticed while I was up here, there's a crack right here. I saw that. Doesn't look very good. I had no plans of using that. That's probably more grain than I've spilled all of last year. I was flawless. It was only a bushel or two, not a big deal. Just don't like that on my record. There goes my bonus for the day. I'm not doing a very good job keeping up. The trucks have been caught, even though they're dumping into the new facility down in Neoga and getting out of there in 5 minutes. We're just cutting too many beans, overwhelming them. Thank goodness we're finally cutting the beans right behind my house where there's a bunch of volunteer corn. The beans look phenomenal. The corn just is kind of an eyesore. We should have thrown some clethodim in or something to take care of it. Don't know that it was an economical threat. It was just bugging me a little bit. Katie was cutting through here right south of the house and saw a fox, which is not good. So hypothetically, I may have gotten something from a safe in my house in case I need to deter a fox from our property because foxes enjoy chickens and they enjoy cats, I believe. But cats are a little scrappy. I think a fox would definitely try to get one. I saw a rabbit run out over there towards Jeff, so there's more prey than just my pets and livestock. I still don't want him to die, gruesome death, assuming they didn't get ran through the combine earlier because they like to hang out here in the field. Wes is here with the weigh wagon, emptying out the combine so we can shoot for the moon here on a Z-Series yield competition. Dad's headed to the spot we saved. There's the weigh wagon. We're going to see what we can do. It's official. They even got the measuring wheel.
Variety of these.
38Z63s. Combine was growing up through there.
I heard that. What's your cutting width in feet?
It's 45, but I don't think you pulled a full 45 both ways. You make the call.
What's his guidance set at? It's not saying full 45.
It's like 44 and a half, but he wasn't.
No.
44 times 2.
That'd be hard on my toes. I would narrowly give that other sample.
That's Wes, our salesman, and then Matt Stone is the DSM, the regional guy. Basically, Wes and all the local salesmen's boss. It's nothing special about us. They just like to see some top-end yields in places.
That says 79.4.
Only 79?
Yeah.
Well, then his monitor must be high. Personally, I don't think he cut a full 44.
I don't think he did either. He wasn't cutting a full swath.
They just cut another sample. The first one came in right around 80. We were expecting higher, so either we didn't measure right because Dad wasn't cutting a full head width, or the combine monitor's just a little bit high. That's good for this year. I thought we picked a better spot. Maybe the combine is actually too high, so the beans aren't making the 90 we think they are. That is a feasible explanation for the active yield systems. They're all over the place, sometimes spot on, other times not even remotely reliable. These should still be good beans. I'll let you know what they make at the end of the field. We're just not going to break any records with them. Kitty, looks like you're in a tornado.
It feels like.
Holy cow. There's a whirlwind around Katie's combine. The wonderful Coles County Farm Bureau manager, Kristen Iverson, brought us dinner out to the field, or lunch, should I say. My wife gets mad at me when I call lunch dinner. The Coles County Farm Bureau does this for farmers around the area if they get nominated, and for whatever reason, we were lucky enough to be nominated this time. We finished 2 fields so far. The first one that the X9 was overstating the yield on weighed out around 76 bushels per acre. That puts it right on top with all of the other March planted beans in that high end. We've had the 3-1, the 31 Z03s make 77 and 78 on one farm. 38 Z63s on that farm were 76. I'm expecting something similar here on this field. It's a small one. Then we've got another field of March 38 Z63s right here. We'll see what they do. They've got a lot of light ground on them. Like the first fields we cut the other day, could drag the yield down. The monthly supply and demand report came out here in the US. It's called the WASDE. They have pegged corn acres even higher than what people were expecting. If you believe the data, the only logic I can follow is that maybe the financial picture for corn was better than everything else, the lesser of 2 or 3 or 4 evils depending on your cropping area. They've lowered the yield slightly, but the jump in acres is pretty bearish. I don't believe the market is buying it because it was actually relatively unchanged. December corn was around 420. A few hours after the report was dropped, we've actually seen a pretty substantial jump in corn prices. They closed at about 430, up 10 cents on the December futures contract. That is new crop corn. That puts our local bids right around $4 cash delivered. I don't know what kind of corn yields we have. I'm thinking about maybe making a marginal sale on some of our ground. I've already sold a good chunk at $4.25 cash. Like 3 or 4 months ago. That was a great choice in hindsight. $4 doesn't exactly excite me, but it is a safe level if you have a decent crop. I'm surprised that the market didn't react negatively, and maybe traders and farmers alike aren't believing the sentiment that there's corn planted everywhere and it's all massively high yielding. Typically, the more acres you add are less productive acres, so the yield should come down, but we're still sitting at a record US yield. That makes no sense. When people add acres, they're not adding high yielding acres, so our average should have come down if you're following my logic, but they've got us pegged at a record, and I can tell you, we may have decent corn here, but it's surely not going to be a bin buster. I apologize for the camera reflection. I want to show you our yields here. Focus on the color of the soil across here. I do think there's 2 satellite images stretched through here or stitched together, so it's going to skew data a little bit. These 2 fields right here are what we cut that made like 62. We've not cut the best part of the field, so I'm guessing they'll finish around 65. These March 13th planted beans on a very light field, not as productive, 62. This field behind the farm, not extremely dark soil in spots, just very good fertility and organic matter, 76. This little field we just cut made 72. I believe we're going to continue to see a trend where these light spots, the hilltops, are dragging yields down because of the drought stress. This field we're on right now is going to be the ultimate test, primarily because it's almost half dark low-lying soil and half high light soil. There should be a pretty stark contrast between the yields here and the yields here. It's almost like 2 different farms, but they're one farm owned by one person, and we're going to find out the yield. The boss wanted a change of scenery. He's going to take the loaded truck since we're caught up. Katie's going to dump straight onto the cart out in this field. I'm going to go to the field to the south, about 1/8 of a mile, where we left some greener beans yesterday, and we've got a truck tied up down here somewhere that's got a half load on it. We're trying to get it loaded and emptied with the remainder of the beans so we can have all of the trucks ready to go. You tie your hands a little bit logistically when you put a partial load on a truck. Don't get it emptied and then move to different farms with different splits, different owners, because you got to keep the grain straight. So we're going to try to get this loaded real quick. Katie's going to cut here, and we should all meet back at square one in about 10-15 minutes.
Jag Evans been using this pacifier.
One day can make all the difference when you're cutting soybeans. These were 15% yesterday, and right now they are 11 to 12. Probably could have blended them off yesterday. It is amazing to watch this machine and Draper feed in all of this plant material. Everyone criticized my dad last fall, asking how he possibly sent a steel rod through the machine. I don't think you could see it. Look at this belt. From up here in the cab, all you see is beans. If there's something heavy underneath there, you will never spot it. It's purely luck that that rod found its way into the position to get into the belt and into the feeder house without plugging anything or slipping any of the clutches. That bean chewing SOB right here. I was using the Harvest Smart automation, and it's not smart enough. About killed the machine there. It's supposed to slow you down when it's too fast. Didn't do it. You can unload a grain car, you can unload a combine. This is easy. They've also got an adjustable spout. That changes things a little bit. We need to get that aftermarket upgrade for the second combine. I think Katie would enjoy that. Every time I run Dad's machine, I like to mess with something to throw him off. Today I'm actually doing something helpful. I'm going to give him a calculator. I know he likes to calculate things, and I like having the calculator on my shortcut bar instead of this help thing. There it is. Now you can do math, like 1 plus 2, 3. That's what calculators are for. About got this little patch cut up, plenty dry. They don't teach that, ladies and gentlemen. It's just something you're born with. Dad and I changed those exact 2 broken guards last night when we were done cutting, and they're both broken again today. How does that happen? Back to my 9 to 5. Hopped in the tractor, started straightening out my records on the Hallmaster Connect because Dad dumped a load. Turned to my left and almost jumped out of my seat, saying, "Who parked that combine so close?" I guess it was me. I already forgot I parked it there in the little bit of time I was fiddling. niece and nephews were here for a little bit. I taught Axel, the oldest, how to run the grain cart. He knows how to catch the combine. I don't know if he's qualified to unload yet. I'm not exactly super qualified either, based on the beans on the ground over there that I'm not going to show you. Dad's got the big machine in quitting time mode. Look at him go. Based on the data available to me right now, courtesy of the scales on the Hallmaster, the field averages are about 76. That one actually came out to 73, 74. This one's the same, about 72. We'll analyze that in Operations Center here in a moment. I'd like to comment on my initial observation, assuming that the newer combine had a better yield monitor. Got my hopes up a little bit, I'll be honest. I should have known something was a little bit off. There's no way without any rain during the critical growing season stages at the end for soybeans, 6 weeks, without even a reasonable drop out here, we're not going to raise 100 bushel beans. The fact that we pulled 70 plus, mid 70s on some of these fields, which aren't even low ground. There's a lot of high ground out here. This isn't a fantasy land. It's not all sunshine and roses. I do believe that our yields will start to drop further as we get into the May planted beans. Less vegetative growth compounded with the dry weather results in even worse yields. I think we will have beans make 50 bushels when it's all said and done on certain challenging fields because we need rain on certain farms. This one obviously is less of an issue. It yielded big without a lot of rain. Imagine if we could have just caught 2 or 3 good rains in August. I think we're cutting 90 plus bushel beans, if not 100. Frustrating, but that's farming. That's our last load to the elevator for the evening. It was nice of the crew at TGM and Neoga to stay open later on Friday so we could knock out some more acres. I believe we will be cutting beans all weekend. Katie's in at home fueling up her combine. Dad and I just finished servicing his draper. He broke a few more guards and sickles. We're pretty much done for the evening. Should be back in action tomorrow. During our busy season, sometimes it seems like I can't find the motivation or the energy when I get a quick break for lunch or at the end of the evening to eat a nutritious meal. My first thought is always to go to the cabinet, grab some junk food, and I know that that is the worst possible thing I can do for my body to help set me up for success tonight and into the days beyond. There is a perfect middle ground for those in the same problem as me, and that's the sponsor of today's video, Factor. Factor takes virtually no time to prepare. 2 minutes in the microwave and you're done and fueled with the meal that supports your lifestyle. The meals are crafted with portion control in mind so you can have the flavor and satisfaction to get you through the day, yet not break the bank when it comes to calories and money. If you struggle with bland food or lack of variety, well, Factor is perfect for you. They have over 80 plus rotating weekly meals that are chef crafted and restaurant quality. Depending on what you like, your preferences, they have everything. Salmon, shrimp, steak, chicken, pork, whatever you want to have, you select on your weekly order. It is what will arrive in the mail, not frozen, fresh, and ready to be prepared. Did I mention that it's better than fast food or junk that most people have for lunch? Myself included, we could all eat a little bit better with the help of the convenience and nutrition of Factor. You can support your goals. Without a doubt, the most important aspect is the food is delicious. You are not going to find a meal ready to prepare in 2 minutes anywhere else that has the flavor that a Factor meal does. When you're pinched for time or just don't feel the motivation to cook something nutritious, let Factor power your day with their tasty meals, and I can guarantee you, you'll clean this plate just like me. The taste is nice, It also helps to not have to do very many dishes when you're done. If you are interested in trying Factor, now is the time to act. If you head to factor75.com and use code TrippyFarmerFB50, you will get free breakfast all year, as well as 50% off as long as you maintain your subscription. That is TrippyFarmer FB50 at factor75.com. It's a great deal. I love their meals. They simplify my life, they de-stress me, and they fuel up my tank. Thanks to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Now back to the action. Someone's picked some ends off of a cornfield over here. I know this was April planted. The double crop beans have to be in trouble since it hasn't rained in a long time. Beans can make up a lot of yield with one timely rain at the end. It can be bone dry the whole growing season. If you get a couple inches right before maturity in the late September window for double crop beans, it can add 20 bushel easily. They're not out of hope yet, but time is definitely dwindling on them. Here's our stop. Found the combine. It's over there picking corn. Wonder if that's the same neighbor. Dad's already cut a sample. He said they're a little tough yet this morning. No big deal. Just need to cross the road, maybe fix 2 broken sickles, give it some time, and then cut. Paul Yoder, our local pioneer agronomist, must have stopped by yesterday while we were cutting beans. He sent me a few data points. He pulled some ears, used some kind of fancy infield moisture checker, not the Dickie John ones you guys are used to, some high-tech dealio. He said our April corn is 12.5 to 14.5% based on his testing. Pretty much, we need to hurry up, cut the remaining fields of beans that are ready, and then move on to corn because we've got a good chunk that's ready to go in the bin, and all this April stuff definitely will. He said yields actually don't look bad. It is coming from an agronomist who is, in a roundabout way, an extension of the sales team for a company, so you should always take that with a little grain of salt. Nothing against you, Paul, or Pioneer, but I know how seed salesmen are. Dad ran off with all the spare parts to service the head. I may cut a quick sample. If he said they were too tough 30 minutes ago, I doubt they're ready now. Got a little cooler overnight relative to the highs. It was 90 degrees yesterday, and it got down to 60 last night. You're gonna get a lot of dew. It makes the stems not thresh very well, drag up, not run through the rotor that great. I'd say within an hour they'll cut if the sun comes out. Do you see the 2 different soybean varieties right here? Must have carried some over from the previous field. Don't know what they are, it's just very visible. One half had some beans in it, and you can even see it in the next through. It gets less noticeable because the new beans are probably starting to blend in. I'm gonna cut my own sample. When in Rome, as they say. It's not exactly perfect yet. I think the combines will be rolling in maybe 10 to 15 minutes. These beans are 10 to 11% moisture. This exact scenario is where machine sync is supposed to thrive. Dad's hand steering around the outside of a field. The system should keep me lined up with his combine unless he goes absolutely haywire. No auto steer line from either of us. It's just following his dance moves. That worked really well. It definitely looked cool. I can't imagine that was good for the air filter on the grain cart tractor. It was breathing in straight bean dust right through there. Take note of where we're unloading at and how low the grain cart's going to be compared to the trucks. The pivoting spout on the Haulmaster is perfect for this type of condition because you can control your distance and your height. Makes a spot like this not a challenge at all. The topography also isn't as dramatic as I made it seem. It's pretty close here, so still something to consider when you're looking at carts is an ability to load in situations similar to this. Oh, got a little bit in the spout there. The farm we're on right now is 2 fields split by a big drainage ditch. Our only crossing is the bridge. I'm trying to research if the hinge draper at 45 foot wide will go across here without hitting the poles. The bridge shouldn't be an issue, but it's the poles like this one right here that might be troublesome. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 steps, probably equivalent to 21 foot, I'd guess, because I wear a size 11 and a half, so they're probably 13 inches long. I don't think that's gonna work. You have to hook her up. Dad isn't going to be thrilled about it. There's nothing we can do. You get a bigger head, you can't drive it down the road on. Katie's 30-foot draper will go across that no problem. 45, you may be calling the utility company and your John Deere repairman if you try to make that fit. If we really wanted to speed things up, we would actually build a bridge or put a culvert in here in the ditch so we could cross. It's probably simpler and cheaper just to unhook the head and move on with our day. It is what it is. You got to deal with the restrictions and dimensions you've created for yourself, or God has created, like this drainage ditch. Special caution was taken there when hooking up the draper. We did not do a very good job getting it square on the head cart. Obligatory soybean dust sneeze there, sorry. It was the most cattywampus I've ever seen it personally. The hinge draper is a different beast to unhook because it's got multiple sections that need to be secured. Whereas the simple flex draper, as long as the cutter bar or the front skid plates are resting on the front bar and then the bottom frame is sitting in the two holders, you're good to go. This one has two holders that are really hard to eyeball because the draper comes really far down when you set it off, and then it's got wing holders as well because the wings will float freely. Long story short, we didn't do a good job setting it on the trailer, so we had to be just a little bit careful taking it off so we didn't have to pick it up off the ground and or repair it. All of that for a simple move across the ditch to the same field, same bean. This will be the first year in probably my lifetime, definitely my career on the farm, where we're just not filling any of these small government bins as they've been deemed. They were part of government storage contracts decades ago. There used to be thousands of these across the countryside. Now there's just a few. We've got some of them. They don't hold beans very well because the moisture is getting in them. You got to be super careful putting in anything over 10% beans. This year, for whatever reason, Dad and Jeff finally had enough, and we didn't even fill one of them. We'd gone down from 3 to 2, and then we did 2 last year. This year we're doing none, just for the sake of simplicity. One of my many ideas floating around in between my ears is building a big bean bin back at the main farm, something that'll hold 40 or 45,000 bushels of beans, put in the systems and the sensors to monitor the grade of the soybeans and to rehydrate dry beans. I think that would pay for itself and would get the added convenience of putting a lot of our beans in the bin, capturing carry in the market, maybe gambling on price a little bit. I think we could all agree that more storage is always convenient. The question in today's farm economy and hard times is whether or not it's justifiable. I'm very good at finding ways to spend money. I'm not very good at allocating the funds or earning the revenue to justify any of these ideas. I just thought of the perfect additional option for this Elmer's Hallmaster cart, a rock box. Why don't they have somewhere on there to put rocks in the field? I don't prefer putting them in the tractor cab, it's just the lesser of all the evils involved. Some people put the boxes on their front rack. I don't have one of those. I'd rather just bring it inside and not risk running it through a machine.
Up by the bin full.
I was sent in to get the third semi truck, and I thought I'd stop by and see my lovely wife and our new baby, Harrison. He's a sweet little angel, except for right now. I'm definitely one of the worst people to send to go get something we need because I'm a bit of a lollygagger. One of my major character flaws. And I forgot my hat inside, so I have to go back. It's hot out here, dogs. You might need to go find some shade. And lucky, we're harvesting the field where we found you. Bring us good fortune. I would really like to haul a load to TGM in Neoga. They just opened up their new 1.5 million bushel facility expansion with a super fast new leg. Jeff said they're moving lightning quick out there right now. A lot of those guys south of here also aren't picking or cutting much yet, so it's easy going for us. Because Coal Station north of here, 10 miles, is closed, Jeff has noticed a lot of Coal Station normals, or normies as some people would describe them, hauling to Neoga because they got to go somewhere with their grain. It's unfortunate for Primient at Coal Station because they're losing the bushels, although I think their insurance is probably making up for lost revenue. It's definitely a good thing for TGM and Neoga because they're getting a lot more bushels than they have before, and they make money on every single one of them. Spilled beans and made me take a rock. That's not very nice. first field is finished. Dad's cracking into the next one. You'll have to take my word for it. There is a bald eagle that just flew right over us. He's circling quarter mile to the east. My Uncle Jeff said that this was always one of my granddad's favorite farms, so I'd like to think that maybe that's him watching over us today. Or not. Could just be a bald eagle looking for one of our cats to eat. I was just loading this truck here, pulled up to the front half, so I was 500 out of 800 bushels, and I heard a noise. The vertical auger stopped spinning. I disengaged this drag auger, turned it on, and it ran out. So I'm gonna try to re-engage it and run it out. I don't know what happened. The other truck's full. I've got some more to dump off. Let's see if it works fine here. It's almost like my vertical drag just disengaged. There's some kind of slip mechanism. I called Brad at Elmer's. He's the guy who brought this out to me last fall to run. He's a wizard with these carts. Great guy. Love him and his representation of Elmer's as a company. Answered the phone immediately on a Saturday early afternoon. I probably would have been out taking a nap if I wasn't harvesting. He's flying around from place to place doing Hallmaster demos because so many people are trying to demo one, get their hands on, because they're awesome. He said what I most likely did had nothing to do with the drag auger. I probably slipped the clutch on the PTO on the cart due to having my gate 100%. He said in soybeans, 100% is a ton of friction and beans rolling back downhill. Sometimes that overloads the cart. He recommended 90% gate opening at most. I did not know that. Maybe there needs to be a chart online or something for us to look at. 100% is a lot of beans. I'm loading trucks in 50, 60 seconds with this wide open. Probably ought to back it down a little bit. That's my fault, not Elmer's. It's really straightforward to adjust. You can see our gate opening right now. We're at 0%. Go up here, hit the 3 bars, calibration, limits, max gate opening. We got it at 100%. He said 90, let's do 80, that's plenty. Let's do 75, take it easy on things. Set. Now when I pull the red trigger on the back, the gate will stop at 75%, or within reason, 75, 76%, as opposed to going all the way. Doesn't affect the closing. Pulling this closes it really fast. Sometimes you just gotta make mistakes to learn. Brad said there's some crops where 100% works fine. Dry corn, sunflowers, oats, those are 2 crops that I've never even harvested, let alone seen in a field. This cart was made for every farmer, not just us lowly corn and soybean folks. I was reading the comments on my last uploaded video. James West 332 commented that I need to revise my t-shirt over the screen rule to only use lighter or white colored t-shirts because this may still heat up the screen. Pretty good idea. I think if I find a light colored one, I may swap them out. I probably have one in here somewhere. Look at that. It's covered in dirt and grease, but it is white. Thanks, James West. I've had a little exercise that my body desperately needs in this nice glacial moraine farm. A lot of rolling out here and a lot of rocks. Terraces all across, inlets. It's either that, put it in pasture, or let it wash away. Fire this up, pull the trigger, watch the gate here on the bottom of the iPad. Still moving a lot of beans at 75%. On to the next field, unless we have to call a crane for that combine. Oh, he's good. Culverts like that are deceiving because you get humps on either side of them. So when you cross them, you feel like you're going off the edge, which is the worst thing that can happen. In reality, it's just uneven and it's tricking you a little bit. We've got the AC blasting. It's a little toasty in the truck. It's also been sitting in the sun. The first field of the day made 64.8. That last field miraculously made 64.6 right next door.
The field post between the corn somewhere and the bean field, about 3 acres where that house site is.
It's impressive that the yields can be that close. We're moving to the same bean on a different field, half mile to the east. This got a couple extra tenths of an inch of rain. When that last field got 3/10, we believe this field got a half inch to maybe 6/10, if not more. I think that will give this the edge, and this farm, for whatever reason, is a more productive farm year in and year out. You all know your farms. Some are great, some aren't that great. Can't make any sense of it, but you know how they behave. It's hard to get anything done when Dad stops for his midday coffee break. Just kidding. He's working over the head real quick. There's a few spots that are pretty damaged from all the rocks from the last couple of fields. Some of these got mangled pretty good. This time of day, you just get it in enough of shape to cut. You don't need to fix them all. If there's any major issues going on, you fix them, and then tonight or tomorrow morning, you're gonna have a lot of wrench turning to do, because I think there's at least 14 sickles sections broken, and then guards as well. I think there's probably 4 or 5. A lot of rocks here on the moraine. Tilt it. It worked. Barely. All in an effort to save 3 minutes of work. That's another one finished up. Dad kept going. Katie, Chris, and I stopped because we got to cut the rest of these March planted 3-1 beans, where the planter operator, allegedly, it wasn't me, still had a 3-8 bean in the planter when he started, and they're just now ripe enough, whereas the 3-1s cut a week ago. So we're gonna cut this little 1.5 acres maybe, and we'll finally have a final yield on the first 92 acres we cut 7 or 8 days ago. The field we just finished averaged 68.2 bushels per acre dry. I was expecting a little bit larger of a margin between that field and the 2 previous fields. I probably need to start considering things in terms of percentage difference and not just straight yield difference, because as your yields get lower, a lower amount of bushels causes a more significant percentage difference. Those at 68 versus the other field at 64 is almost a 7 or 8% increase in yield, so it was a major advantage. I was just expecting it to be more in line with beans like this in the low to mid 70s. Maybe I should recalibrate my expectations. I'll be the first to admit my pickup truck has desperately needed an interior detailing for at least 12 months, if not 24 months. The question I've been asking is, how does my truck get so dirty on the inside? I only really put the windows down going along a highway, not in the field. Well, we were cutting beans today at the last field. Wind is blowing right towards Chris, sitting in my pickup, and he had both windows down, never put them up. He left it like that all afternoon when we were in that field. That explains a lot why the whole interior of my truck is just coated in soybean dust. We have Chris to blame. Not a big deal, I just think it's kind of funny. A measly 100 bushels. Combines are in, fueling up, trucks are back home. That's it for the night. That kept our average pretty much the same. Those March planted 31 Z03s with a sprinkle of 38 Z63s made 77.5 or just under. That's pretty darn good for this year. Someone was blocking the executive grain cart parking spot, so I had to go elsewhere. We've got maybe one big field of beans that might possibly cut tomorrow, and then we will probably have to bridge the gap with some corn. I'm excited to see some corn yields, or maybe I should be concerned. I'm going to take off for the night. Appreciate you all tuning in, and I sure hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!